Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Passion Point. My name is Karen Glasser, and this is the show where we travel all around the world, literally and figuratively, finding passionistas who are following their passion and making a living doing what they love. And today our guest comes all the way from St. Martin. I am so excited about our guest, Bernadette Davies. She works from the heart space in guiding in wellness and self-knowledge. She uses sacred geometry and the emissary wheel. We're going to talk about that because I have no clue as to what that means. A powerful 12-pointed star that focuses energy with love and intention to help people align with their purpose. She also uses Rife resonance therapy. We'll talk about that. And the power of healing through sound. She founded Agape Holistic Retreat on the island paradise of St. Martin. Just look at the view behind her when she comes on screen. Oh my goodness. Where she leads small groups in the connecting of body, mind, and spirit. She is also certified Reiki and crystal practitioner, to name a few. So without further ado, let's welcome Bernadette to the Passion Point. Good morning, Bernadette. How are you today?
Good morning, and it's good afternoon here in St. Martin.
Oh my goodness, I just want you to talk for a second because I want our viewers to see how gorgeous it is where you are. Just say something, yeah.
I'm so happy and grateful to be with you today, Karen, and to be with your audience and to share this incredible space of St. Martin. It is a beautiful island and it's rich with culture. There's over 123 different nationalities of people and cultures of people.
Wow.
So we're quite a oneness, a group of many.
And it's stunning, and I can't wait to come visit you for sure. You know, we like to start the show every single week with a definition of passion, and I'm going to start with what Webster says passion is. Now, Webster says that it's an intense driving or overmastering feeling or conviction. That's what Webster says. Bernadette, what does passion mean to you?
Passion is that in the stomach feeling that you have, driving force that's a burning desire. And so when I was creating Agape Holistic Retreat 2 years ago, this was something that was waking me up in the middle of the night. And I had sweats and I felt really uncomfortable at times. And I thought, why me? Why am I being called to this? And what I like to share with those that come to Agape Holistic Retreat is that you too maybe already have found that and wish to intensify what that feeling is for yourself and how that turns into targets in your life. And that, where do you go with your targets?
Wonderful. So we're just going to start with your journey. Tell us about your journey and what inspired you to do this unbelievable work that you're doing right now.
I am a collective person, so I work together. I see myself as a lotus flower opening up all the time and collectively working with others and sharing space. I'm European. I love to invite people. I'm a party person, and we gather together, so it's an awful lot of fun. I find myself in incredibly beautiful places in Canada and here, and I choose those by design. And so I cannot not share it. It's just my nature. I love that. And I went into some soul searching. And so it started when I was 20. At 20 years old, I found myself questioning and wondering, there must be more to life than this. And I have been connected to spirit all of my life, and I've heard what I thought the rest of the world heard. And I would ask my guides and those angels that I would see, what's this all about? And I remember being a bit distraught at 20, and I said, what is my purpose? And the voice came back and said, and I wrote it down really quickly because I've been doing automatic writing most of my life. And I always have a pen and paper by my bed, and I wrote down in my sacred spot, you are here to assist men, women, and children find peace and comfort and plan to achieve their goals with your knowledge. And I thought, oh man, what have I asked for?
Just a little thing, just a little thing.
And I'm 20, what do I know? And so I questioned, and they said, you're ready now. Well, if you just go through life a little longer and spend a bit of time knocking against some walls and learning a bit about who you are, and in your journey, in my journey of self-love, that's what Agape is all about, is the highest level of love. Yeah, I really came to this space of understanding now in my 50th year. It started back, I guess, really strong when I was 47, and I knew that something big was coming. And I just trusted and surrendered and was full of gratitude every step of the way. And so the tools and the trades that I have learned along the way, both spiritual, they're all spiritually based. And agape is a spiritual experience. It's an experience into self.
So let's describe some of the work that you do. I mentioned a bunch of words in my introduction to you that, quite frankly, are new words for me. So let's kind of dive in. Tell us about the actual work that you do and what all of those things, the emissary wheel and geometry and all those things. What does that mean, and how does it go with the work that you do?
My pleasure. Thank you. Well, first of all, this is the spot where I do the work. And when I'm doing a group spot, this is a sprawling home. I'm just going to take it for a second just to show you the depth of the property and the beach behind me. This is real. It's the real McCoy. I take people on a journey. It's a self journey of opening themselves. So it starts with fundamental principles that I've been guided with spirit as well as knowing. And every morning starts with slowing down before we speed up. So we do breathing work. Breath is really important to me. So you burn off a lot of toxins with breath. And so I take a bit of the Ayurvedic, the Indian, and that's in my backpack. And then I take a bit of the Chinese and the understanding with their old and ancient sacred ways of healing the body and balancing the body, Karen. And so from that, I do a chakra alignment, and it's all done with frequency, and it's 7 minutes. And I teach all of those that come, please take it with you. And when you're having a moment where I call pulled out, and we all get pulled out, you can find a place to go in your washroom, and you can take 7 minutes, and I guarantee you when you come out, your reaction will be different, because you will not be reactionary. You'll be within yourself, projecting who you are, as opposed to all the surroundings that are around you and the things you might have in your backpack that have triggered you. You'll be able to calm yourself down. In essence, the chakras are 7 that we work with. There's much more than that. And we focus on the color, we focus on the sound, and then we, through auditory, we actually make the sound. And the sound connects a resonant chord in your body. So the most important ones that I work with are the head and the heart. And when those two sounds are made, there literally is, science has deemed, there is a resonance chord between the two, which makes everything flow easier.
Wow. So is there actually a definition for the word chakra? I know what chakras are. I've done a little bit of work with it, but is there a definition as an explanation of what chakra is?
Well, I like to call it the wheel of life. They're spinning wheels, and I use many different methodologies to move them. This is one of them that I use, and I find very effective with everyone. It's easy to do. You don't need to have any special tools or special trade. We all have our higher consciousness within us. And really, Karen, it's a wonderful opportunity to go back to what you always were and reignite, realign, and attune yourself to you and learn how can I call upon my higher consciousness to tell me what, in fact, I'm all about. So I teach people when you go to the grocery store, you can use your hands, and your hands will guide you to the right item that's just for you. So some people are very sensitive to chemicals. Most everybody is, and I talk about that. I talk about the 5 important things in 2016 that each and every human being might want to consider to thrive in the world. So yeah.
So I have a question for you. You know, you obviously are helping so many people, and in helping others, how do you take care of yourself? I mean, are you depleted? Does it take from you? Do you give, or is it a sharing? How do you take care of yourself?
Well, that's a really great question to ask. I'm on high resonancy, so I hold a high vibrancy for the whole week. Some clients come in on a Monday or a Sunday, and they stay right through until the Sunday. So I'm on board. I clear the energy of the space each and every time I come. We make an emissary wheel, which is incredibly beautiful, and it's set up in this space, or if we're up in the house over there, we set it up indoors, and it all depends on how many numbers we have. Sometimes it's a small retreat. and it be 6 people. Sometimes it's 20 or 30 people. And I stay out of it. I trust, surrender, and I'm full of gratitude. So whoever shows up, I am honored to be of service, and I was called to do that. And so I stay out of that. I stay out of the numbers, I stay out of the mix, and I'm here to serve. And the people show up because they're aligned to show up. And I find it very easy living like this. And I talk to people about that.
Well, I mean, you are, after all, on Saint Martin, right? So your business is located there. What made you choose that particular location?
Well, I think it really chose me. There's a bit of work that can be done here, and the ground is a little hard and harsh. And so every time I'm gifted to see, every time we make an emissary wheel, I actually see the shards go out, a little bit like Star Trek. And so the 12-pointed star is there. I see beautiful energies that come down around the wheel. I see it in light, and I see it in shards of energy that go out. And so when we come together, it's a collective process. So those that are with me are sharing as much as I am. I'm learning from those, and they're learning from me. So it isn't me setting the bar and this is how it shall be. It's how do we wish it to be. And I've seen incredible things happen around the wheel. And it's sacred, it's ancient. I was taught this process by one of my mentors, James Twyman, who I've been studying with for the last 2 years as a soul coach and studying the I Am That I Am with his wonderful and beautiful Academy of Soul Manifestation. And I'm honored as one of 30 that he chose to be part of this 2-year accredited course. And it's moved my whole life in ways I can't even explain.
You know, Bernadette, I'm listening to you, and you speak with so much passion and confidence. Are there things that frighten you? And what do you do about that?
I would say there are very few things. If they frighten me, it's for a moment. But I've worked so much with the subconscious brain that subconscious brain is filled up with love and with a knowing of a higher calling for myself and for the world that I don't spend a lot of time. And it sounds a little prophet-y, but I really snap out of it very quickly, and I teach others to do it. In fact, Karen, fear is fake.
Really? Well, what is that? Okay, let's stop right there. Why is fear fake?
Because if you pass through it, there's nothing on the other side. Every time I coach and I guide people in love, I say, I have your back, I have your front, above, below. Just do it. Do it. This is one life. This is this life. To have no regrets and to live. And I'm an example of it. I had so many fears, and I'm always testing my targets. And they're always evolving and always moving. And I'm happy and grateful. I say that an awful lot. I say an awful lot, how does it get any better than this? I'm almost inquiring on the universe to show me more, show me how it unfolds, and how can I step up and be of service.
So you're actually telling people to step into their fear and then keep going.
Absolutely, absolutely. I did spend time going to the Matrix course with Bob Proctor, and he teaches an awful lot about that. So I'm a Matrix grad. And, you know, the terror barrier is there for everyone. Every single person, you know, every walk of life, every monetary walk of life, every spiritual walk of life, all relationships, there are challenges. And I never said the word challenge until I was about 35. I lived in a bubble of love and light. And I had challenges meet me. And I had physical ailments meet me because I pushed myself too much. And who am I to think that I can help everyone? I'm here to be of service, but those that are wanting to step up, show up. And the diversity of how much work they wish to do is their own, and I honor whatever it is. And sometimes they come and there might be frustrations or detoxes that happen, and I just hold the space and say this too. And when something else shows up, I say in this too. And we just go through every step as it comes.
So I'm sure in your work you have had people cross your path that have lost their passion and that they just don't know what to do. And how do you help guide them get back up on their feet?
Love, however love presents itself. And sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes it's loving enough to be so very honest and so frank with my words but in a loving mannerism, and always saying there's no judgment attached to this whatsoever. This is what I'm hearing, this is what I'm feeling, and if it doesn't feel right for you, don't accept it.
I totally appreciate that. I mean, that's awesome. So let's just describe, if somebody wanted to come to one of your retreats and the time is right and the dates are right, what can they hope to have or do or experience when they get there?
Well, they generally show up. They like to come for a week, so I make sure that the villa here is available for the week. They come, they are on their own. They often get a car, and I've got a plethora of places to go, from eco tours, zip lining, to going on a cruise, boats with trapeze swings that go into the water, and wonderful food and lots of culture on the island. So that being said, when they show up on a Thursday, they come at 4:30, and we have a wonderful drink together, and then we have dinner, and then we go right into making the wheel. And the wheel is all evening, and it's played to this incredible music that is soft. The music's enhanced, Karen, with a high vibrancy, the sound of I Am That I Am. And so I'm working with many different musicians, and I'm so incredibly thrilled because my favorite musicians want to come here. And I just keep saying, how does it get any better than this? And I am so honored. And that's how I expand. My truth is unfolded, and then it's unfolded and unfolded. So if I get it, others get it with me, and they come along this journey. So the emissary wheel is huge. It is creating a vortex. So I can see this vortex that looks like DNA, and it's above and below the ground. And in that, we imbue love, and we imbue peace. And how we do that is intentional. So there's a standard rule for me that I have worked with for the last 30 years that is absolute magic. And that is frequency, which is sound, plus intention equals healing. And it works every time.
Frequency, I'm going to write this down. Frequency plus sound.
Yes, well, frequency is sound. So frequency, some people call it sound. They can identify better with that. We get muddled up with words, but it's the essence of the decibel of the music that's coming out. And so the frequency or the sound plus your intention. So I, often will say, please close your eyes and make it juicy. And what do you see? What do you feel? At the same time that there's sound manifests in your life. And so the emissary wheel being a really old, ancient place where we can gather with 12 points, we sing peace prayers, and they're from all the nations. And it gives you chills. And it's quite interesting because some of them will move some people more than others. And we'll pass the music around in the evening to candlelight. And it is the most beautiful process as each person is putting down the stone or the shell, in this case, because I like to use organic pieces of the earth. And then what happens is this wheel, the more we sit around it, is an amplified field. And that amplified field will amplify the positive, or it will amplify the not so positive. That's how energy works.
Yes. Okay.
So that's it.
I get that. I love quotes and mantras, and one of my favorites, and I know you have a favorite, and we're going to get to that one in a second. The quote that is really resonating with me today is from E.M. Forster. He's an English novelist, and he says, "One person with passion is better than 40 people merely interested." And I love that. I love that because it is all about the passion. And you have a lovely mantra that you use. Why don't you share it with us and where it comes from?
I don't even know what it is. I'll
give it to you. Put your brain on hold. Let your world unfold.
And so
that was funny.
Put your brain on hold and let your world unfold came from my daughter and I. And she is now 18. And I just stood there with my hands on my hip and I said, come on, put your brain on hold and let your world unfold, or let your life unfold. And she immediately, she's so funny and we click so well. She goes, write that down. That's your tagline. So this is really true in my life. It's represented in everyone's life. When we have our ego brain, I like to call it, which is our friend, It's there, it's guided us, it's protected us through our life. It engages us to say the lower feelings of, how are you worthy? Who you? Why would it be you? And so on and so forth. And so when we can subjugate that and we can replace it, or at least enhance it with ideas that you are perfect. You are completely perfect, and you were chosen here as a child of God. And I like to say you're a perfect piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I know that you have lots of big plans ahead. I know you have many, many retreat dates that are coming up this year and future years. Tell us about your plans. Tell us where you're going. I mean, what you're on the journey, obviously, and it's a continual journey. But what big plans are in store for Bernadette Davies?
Thank you. Well, first and foremost, the Agape Holistic Retreats really are my life. So they're expanding into a resort. And I see that taking place. It's something where we do the same idea. One of the things I haven't shared is that we work in a threefold manner, and that's purpose. So when I'm making the sacred geometry, if you apply the threefold and working with 3 facilitators at all times, I can offer more. So I learn, you learn, we all learn together, and we learn the same. It's interesting, the facilitators that show up are of mind, body, and spirit, mind, body, and soul. So you're going to see something or take something that I wouldn't necessarily know to say it a certain way. So there's gifts that we all have and we share collectively. That has unfolded into a bigger net where I see us having the Agape Holistic Resort, and that we have one in a tropical area, 2 in a tropical area. It may be this island. I'm currently invested in properties on this island, and I'm watching that. I've been lucky enough to have an Akashic record reading author come as a facilitator, and she did a reading for me, which was fantastic. And she shared some of the information that, in fact, I live in a threefold where I'm collective in every way of my life. So she said, in fact, the universe is encouraging you to partner with others, and that each person will have a spoke of that wheel. And so the restaurant will be somebody who's really vested and passionate about that. And then the person who's doing yoga or Pilates will be bang on, and that's their baby. And yet they see the whole thing together. So I hold the energy space. And then through that, she said 5 or 6, so it's quite complex. Now I've been working with architects' drafts and been very excited over the last year. So I have my first run of architects' drafts for this resort, and it's expanding. So I'm watching to see who shows up in my life, and those people that are really committed to the core of mind, body, spirit enhancement. One of the things I will say is around this wheel that was just dismantled on Sunday, I'm in the same villa, as I said, where we did the retreat recently. People take pieces with it. It's enhanced to such a high vibrancy, and they put it in their pocket or they wear it in their bra, and they find themselves really coming back to themselves and feeling this high vibrancy. So that is an integral part of the resort, and those drafts are just beautiful.
You're doing such great work, Bernadette. I mean, truly, you're doing such great work. And I know you and I are actually talking about me possibly getting involved as well. And it's like, pick me. Because first of all, I've said this to you before, you radiate from the inside out who your essence is. And it's beautiful to watch you. It's beautiful to watch you talk and express and just be you. And I know our listeners and our viewers, because this is television, I'm sure many of them are going to want to get to know you. And you are offering a special just for our listeners. And I'd like you, you're going to do a 1-hour energy healing. What does that mean? And thank you, by the way. Thank you.
You're welcome. As a soul coach, I guide those that come to Agape. During the first portion, before the retreat starts, I'm here and I do private sessions with those. The other facilitators do private sessions, so people get double the value of what they're doing when they're with me. So anyone who comes will have a free session with me, and that will be a soul coach session. What I work with when I talked about the back brain and the front brain, I imbue within you yourself. So I awaken you to yourself in your own calling that you've always had. So that starts with deservingness and worthiness. And I've really condensed 30 years of working with people and seeing again and again that we forget how deserving we are. And we forget how worthy we are. And we forget that we are a perfect piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth. Yes. If it wasn't for you, Karen, the world would not be the same. And the same likewise with me and with all of our guests that come.
Absolutely. Are there any last thoughts or any other things that you'd like to impart on our viewers? You've given us so much information. I don't know if you noticed, I was taking notes as you were talking. Any last thoughts that you would like to share with everyone before we say goodbye? You're fascinating, and I want our viewers to really get as much as they can from you in this very short amount of time.
Thank you. Well, one of the things that I'm encouraged with Spirit again and again is to stay simple and stay authentic. And there's nothing wrong with the way you show up. And at Agape, we have zero judgment. So the guiding is there as a what if, but it's not an absolute. I do take people through raw food. I do it on purpose. I have a raw food coach that comes in, sometimes from Sweden, sometimes from Bali. He's wonderful. And he's on Skype for coach calls. And if people are having, light detoxes or stuff, he can reassure them on what's happening with their body. And this is all in preparation for how do you get the highest vibrancy in the deepest way. Right. So one of the things I didn't talk about is we do some spa treatments. We go off for a massage at a beautiful place where they put your feet in a bowl full of flowers in soft music, and you've got a robe wrapped around you, and you really feel comforted and you feel worthy. And then we go to the beach just behind me, and we smear ourselves with mud that is brought in from Castleman, Ontario, by an incredibly beautiful man, Mark St. Ange, who is so committed and passionate about what he does. And he ships it to me, and there's all this tithing that happens. So he'll help me with a little bit of the shipping, and I'll present him. And I'm lucky enough to be on Own Times Radio coming up, and so I'm supporting Sylvia Henderson. She's her show, and I support you, Karen, with the wonderful work that you do. And I'm so happy and grateful to be interviewed by you today and to share our message here at Agape.
And we, as an audience, are so delighted that you were able to be on with me today. We know that people have a choice as to how to spend their time, and I want to thank our viewers that you took some time out of your very busy day to spend it with us. All of the information that we spoke about today, including how to get in touch with Bernadette, is directly below in the run sheets. Take advantage, click on it, go visit her website, go get to know Bernadette. I know I'm getting to know Bernadette, and I like what I see. So as we say every single week, go out and give somebody an awesome day, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of The Passion Point. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.